Middleman. Middleman.
Hello and welcome to the Middlemen of Jurors, where echoes of truth rise and voices converge at the crossroads of justice and conscience. Joining me today are jurors with voices bold and verdicts sharp. Our jurors from Rabbi highlight Nigeria's inequality problem, where provision of basic amenities is rationed by privilege and status in a case titled A Second-Class Citizen. Juror Emeka Madunagu's case, Tinubu's obscene fuel tax, is a backlash against the latest fuel tax and how the administration disguises punishments as policy. While I, Juror Henry Igwebuike, will expose President Tinubu's confusion in revoking his own appointments 8 times in less than a year in a case titled Gale of Reversals. These conversations and more will come your way after this quick break. This is the Middlemen of Jurors. Stay with us.
Middleman. Middleman.
Thank you very well for joining us. This is still the Middleman and the conversation begins. My case, Gale of Reversals. 8 times Tinubu revoked appointment made in error. In what is now becoming a trend, President Bola Tinubu has again reversed a major appointment, this time at the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA). On August 20, Tinubu appointed Rotimi Pedro as Director General of the NTA, citing a renewed commitment to national unity and soft diplomacy through broadcasting. Pedro, a Lagos-based media professional with over 2 decades of experience, promised to revive the declining agency with technology and innovation. However, the swift return of former DG Salihu Abdullahi Dambas to the NTA premises was met with cheers from staff, many of whom viewed his removal as unjust and ethnically motivated. His reinstatement adds to a growing list of appointments Tinubu has reversed 8 times in total across key agencies like FEMA and the FCC, often with days of announcement. This reversal, rather than reflecting good governance, have cast a shadow of doubt over the presidency's internal processes. Instead of stability, Nigerians are witnessing a game of musical chairs, with governance increasingly appearing transactional or tribal. Critics argue that Tinubu's appointments favor political allies, especially from his Lagos inner circle, undermining the national spread he claims to promote. The inconsistency also points to a worrying lack of due diligence at the highest level. My verdict: the frequent revocation of appointments under Tinubu's administration signals more than administrative error. It suggests a leadership style marred by ethnic favoritism and poor planning, equally political calculations. Until appointments are based on merit and transparency, the credibility of public institutions like the NTA will remain in doubt, and national unity will remain a talking point, not just a policy. Gentlemen.
This is quite a clear indication that perhaps the president is confused as to who should head an institution and who should be appointed to head an institution. And on several occasions, he has consistently made this error. Is it an error now, or what should I call it? Or is it trial and error or error itself? Because for me, before you appoint a person into an office, you should be doing that from the point of an informed decision, given the sensitivity of the ministry in question. Every ministry in the country is sensitive. So before you appoint or sack, it must come with a note of finality. to establish and re-establish the fact that you're of sound mind and that you are taking such decision in the interest of national prosperity. But for President Tinubu, sadly, it has shown that his appointments are nepotic, and when he makes those appointments or those sacks, he can quickly reverse it when pressure comes on him, because he has been accused on several occasions of this, and I feel that is true. That his appointments, they are not based on merit; they are triggered either by nepotism, favoritism, or just something within the scale, but far from merit. And you cannot have national growth that way. If you make an appointment today and pressure comes on you, you reverse it the next day and bring it. So what it means is that you are not in charge. He's not in charge. That's what I think. Maybe the cabals can just back at him and then he will surrender and change whatever it is. What must have happened in this case that we have to count 8 times, you understand, on this same issue? So for me, it appears the president is not in charge. His decisions are not based on merit, and he appears to be losing it technically. For me, I don't think he's getting it right.
Yeah, basically, I remember when the FEMA appointment, when I appointed a 27-year-old guy as MD of Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. And then, of course, I heard it somewhere that the president, when some people told him, look at the backlash over the appointment, because the guy's father was also an appointee of, he's also an appointee of this same government. And that he was saying, when did I approve it? I'm not aware of this. So what it shows is that it's like there is a power play within the presidency. And of course, we saw the things that happened under Yaradua, all the theatrics. It appears those same things are beginning to happen again under this administration. Even though they may pretend about it, but of course you notice that, certain things are just pointing in the direction of, the fact that the president is not fully in charge.
And under the Yaradua, sorry to cut you short.
Yeah, go ahead.
If not for this woman, Dora Akunyili,
yes,
they would have maintained that thing to the end of the tenure.
The videos are just coming.
Yes.
Up. You can see the video of the interview. So that means maybe some people know what a lot of us don't know. I mean, look at what the president said the other day, that he met the Naira at, he met the exchange rate at 1,950 and brought it down to 1,450. That was a very strong alarm bell. That was a red flag.
Yes.
And then again, he went to Brazil and said corruption had ended. That's another strong red flag. We may think, that people are not noticing, but the world takes notice. When certain things begin to, fall apart at the seams, the world begins to notice that certain things are not sitting very right. And of course, like the Dembos man that was returned, there is this idea that he was appointed by the former President Buhari, and so by now his tenure should be ending.
No, his tenure is actually supposed to end by next year.
Now, some people are trying to sell that line. Because if you recall, when it was first announced, no action, government didn't even, it just came out.
We just saw
it out of the blues. It now took some days before, I think a week or 2 weeks, before action was taken on it. So, and then now the president is off to UK and France on a working visit. And they said he's taking a respite from the burden of leading Nigeria. Who placed the burden on him?
For 10 days.
For 10 days. Who placed the burden on him? So I think the same thing that happened under Erdogan, the same thing under Buhari, I suspect is beginning to happen. And it only tells us that, we need to begin to interrogate our leadership choices.
And all this travel he does, he doesn't hand over power to the deputy.
That is it. I mean, the deputy,
vice president.
he now couch, they said that the president will still be in charge. This is a working visit. There's
He
nothing
can
like
lead from anywhere.
there's nothing like a working visit.
That's a violation of the constitution.
Of course. And that tells you that certain things are really going on. And I think, I believe that in no distant time, that the truth will come out about what is going on.
Very true. I think, one thing about nepotism is that nepotism has a way of eroding the personality of people that are involved in it. Rotimi Pedro is an excellent guy. Rotimi understands media true and true. He's someone with lots of experience, better than this Dembo's guy that's been there for some time, and of course NTA has not changed. So there was this light at the end of the tunnel to some extent that Rotimi Pedro might change the face of NTA, like what's the name of this guy, the silver-beard man, Ben Bruce did to NTA many years ago, even changing the old-time logo we know. And when he left, they turned it back to the old, went back to where it was before. So Pedro had that tendency of making NTA what it should be, but because it came with a nepotistic ideal, you can see how that we are leaving how good Pedro is now and focusing on that nepotism
geography,
which is not great and good for us, which still we are still left with a debased NTA. We are still left with an NTA that can go beyond what the NTA is currently doing.
But even beyond the issue of what NTA is, even though I differ with you on that debased NTA, because you see, it's about the far corner. The person calling the tune. It is in their own interest, because you look at all the propaganda, all the lies and falsehood, so it's in their interest to keep, issuing from the government.
Okay.
It's their interest to keep NTA, at an underwhelming level, that it cannot operate as an independent arm of government. And that was the problem that VOA had years ago, when people were saying that no, VOA is independent, but they receive funding from government. Why can't VOA run as an independent? Now you see Trump has come in, he's no more interested in funding VOA, and VOA has disappeared. So that should tell you that's also a critical issue in terms of media ownership. Who calls the tune? It should not be government. Government has no business owning TV stations, owning radio stations. Government has no business.
Yeah, especially because the objective of the media is to hold government accountable to the people.
So you can't hold yourself accountable.
So if government now invests in the media, what it means that you are not going to get reportage.
Yeah.
As we talk today, I can count stories in the past 2 months, very strong stories that the traditional media all avoided. The issue of El-Rufai presenting or making the statement, presenting a result of 2023 results, saying that will be Wonder result. The traditional media avoided it, all of them.
There is a lot. What about
what is going on?
Tompolo, where they were spraying money.
Yes.
The media ran away until the online media now kept and the EFCC came and gave one watery.
As if they were going to do anything. That's not just all. There are other pockets of stories here and there.
Yes.
Traditional media. So what's going on exactly? Apart from Sahara reporters that go on the issue and present it unedited.
But they have their
own.
The Sahara reporters have their own fight.
Yes.
The NTA will say they won't want to set Nigeria ablaze, because if they are to report the way it is, they have more coverage in rural areas that all other stations.
So can they see stories? Can they see stories?
So they can rather say the Argungu Festival. Even when Nigeria is burning, they can sell that to rural people.
What about the National Public Radio in the US? National Public Radio covers the stories, out of the national glare. They cover those stories. Why can't NTA emulate them? Let them look at, BBC. BBC is a clear example of what the government in UK wants the whole world to hear. I don't want
and
to...
even the government of UK has no total control. I think they should have about 20%.
They don't have total control.
Yeah.
But at least
it
because
is
of that
funded mainly by grants and
but that imperialistic background, not just about what the government wants, about what the UK as an imperialistic, country, as a former empire, what they want. Just read through their reports. Like today, they put something about, they said Burkina Faso's unelected parliament. And I asked them, unelected by whose standards? By the standards of the West or by what? So you see, when they write things about Burkina Faso and their leader, there's a way, if you are not an expert in communication, you will not see through some of those words and the way they try to turn the narrative.
The mischief.
Yeah,
because even if you look at their analysis and reportage of Israel-Palestine war, they're actually in favor of the Palestinians.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So that's why I'm wondering why, for instance, let me just put the United States is revoking the visas of Nigeria, whereas some governments in Europe are openly declaring for. Why not revoke their own visa? What is the problem of Nigerians with?
No. Since we started this, this what do you call it now? This thing they talk about, you make your decision, I make my decision. Because Nigeria is trying to do that with the US, and I think it's fatal.
It's fatal
because because you cannot as a struggling country, you are struggling with citizens being able to feed. Then you want to do what they call this thing with America. If they take one decision, you will take one.
And coupled with President Bola Tinubu, reciprocity.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You see, you are not Japan, you are not Germany,
you are not India,
you are not Canada. I will tell him that why are you saying you want to join us as a state? Then you are now doing all the with see, for some of us that into this NGO thing and the rest of that, we know what we are suffering now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Based on the decisions Trump made. Yeah. You understand? There's no funding anywhere again, whether your intentions are genuine or not. It's no longer about your intentions. It's no longer about the project you are, going after and the problems you are solving across. It's about the fact that whether the issue is genuine or not, you have zero funding.
Simple.
You understand? So how would people who have genuine causes, how do they subsist? Most NGOs are shutting down. Okay,
Yes.
Owners are. I know like 5 my colleagues who they are applicants now. They're applying for jobs to get jobs, and some of them are preparing to leave the country and the rest of that because things have changed. That was the only thing that was keeping them, because while they are doing the job, they're able to subsist too, partly by what they are doing. So I don't think Nigeria is ripe enough for some of this grandstanding that we try to do. We don't even have nuclear anything. So what are we trying to do? We're not there.
We can't fight common bandits.
So we are not in the place for all this. I think we need to retrace our steps and plan accordingly by our size, depending when we're able to rise from the ashes.
Very apt. So we will take a quick break, and when we return, Juror Evans Ufeli will be here to present his case titled A Second-Class Citizen. Just stay tuned. The Pantheon of Jurors. In the hallowed halls of justice, where echoes of truth intertwine with whispers of despair, there stands Jumoke Alawode James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion, galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency, unraveling cases that cradle the very essence of Nigeria's collective agony. She stands a sentinel over a nation laid bare, beckoning it to rise from the ashes of its own dissolution, crying out for a redemption that dances just beyond reach. Next emerges Evans Ufeli, a sage, with a heart that beats in harmony with the rhythm of justice, an advocate driven by a fervent dream of egalitarian dawn. Each week, he unfolds a scroll of cases bestowed upon him by the wise rabbi, a craft woven with threads of profound thought and searing urgency. His lamentation for the plight of the people rises like a